All right, so the American presidential election. Huh? What a shit show, huh? What a total shit show. Georgia and Arizona, they're very close. They were the swing states in 2020. The swing states in Georgia and Arizona. Joe Jorgensen actually had an impact there. The Libertarian candidate, a third-party independent, was significant. What does that mean? What does that actually mean? Well, if Nader stole the election from, Gore for 2000, Bush and all that shit, then that means Joe Jorgensen is actually the person who stole this election from Donald Trump. Joe Jorgensen stole this election from Donald. Donald Trumpers, are they on the Libertarians? Have they, gone after the Libertarians the way the Democrats went after Ralph Nader? I haven't heard any of the Democrats give Joe Jorgensen credit for depriving the election, stealing the election from Donald and giving it to Joe Biden. And I bet you the Democrats won't. I bet you the neoliberal Democrats won't. The progressive Democrats will. The progressives are the good, decent, hard-working folk. The neoliberals are they're the hollowed out, soulless husk. They're just emptied out, hollowed shells. They're just... So yeah, this is, 2020. I'm talking about 2020 America. If Joe's voters would have gone to Don, then Don would have won and vice versa. So congratulations, Joe Jorgensen. He was relevant in 2020. Unlike Howie Hawkins, Kanye West almost beat Howie Hawkins in Colorado by like 1,000 votes. So, America, we got to pay attention. We got to pay attention. This is for Democrats. This is for the world. Anybody who wants, this fascism to fucking end, this American fascist experiment to just, go back to the cave. We got to nip fascism in the bud, right? We got to nip it right in the bud. This is, this was terrible. This was awful. Jesus Christ. So, right now, Donald can legally, constitutionally win the presidency. In fact, right now, everybody in America, anybody who was born in this country, who's a natural-born citizen, and they are 35 years of age, can become the president of the United States. Everybody in America, because all you got to do is schmooze, some elector, get them to vote for you as some sort of protest vote, and if it goes to a House contingent election, the third-place finisher will be one of the top three that the House will vote on. So that's the aim, that's the goal, to become third place. If you're the third place finisher, that's the path for, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or any independent. So Joe's got a chance, Donald's got a chance, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has a chance, and you, Sally Nobody American, you have a chance to become the president of the United States too. So, yeah, congratulations to Joe Jorgensen, right? I want to make sure I say that. So, the way that Donald can win legally and constitutionally is to deprive Joe Biden of the 270 absolute, albeit simple majority that he needs to win. That's the 270 electoral college vote threshold. So you need at least 270 votes to win, right? So the media, that's how elections go, right? It's not about the votes. It's whoever the media projects to win, right? Well, the media projected that the votes eventually will be counted, and then eventually it'll be. That's not how elections work. So it goes to the electoral college, right? So to deprive Joe of the presidency, all that's needed is for 37 faithless, electors, I say faithful deflectors to appear. All you need is 37. You have 538, right? The sham election November 3rd was just a poll, and who could trust the goddamn polls? Nobody could trust. So the only election that matters is December 14th. On December 14th, 538 assholes, a bunch of rich, plutocratic, oligarchical fucking assholes who's, cozied up with the Democrat or Republican machine of their state legislature. They get picked, and then they go and they vote in tradition, custom, just, because it just has been that way. It's smarter. It makes sense, to vote consistent with your own state. The state voted for the electors, so you're supposed to represent. But actually, you can vote however you goddamn well please. So the current snapshot right now, Where is the election? Right now, Joe's got 306 projected. All this is projected, right? CNN, Fox News, that's not how elections work. You don't wait till Fox to declare it or CNN to declare it. You wait for the person who counted up the votes to declare the winner. You watch the votes being counted, and then that's when the end of the counting of the votes, that's when the end of the election actually happens. So December 14th is when the Electoral College happens. That's how America's presidential election happens. You assholes went and voted November 3rd thinking you was actually voting for the damn president. You don't know what the fuck you're talking. I'm talking about the Constitution, right? Our beloved Constitution. That's what I'm talking about. So, okay, right now, Don has a chance. And it's the same way for the independents, too. So don't think I'm trying to promote, the fascists in chief. I'm just saying we got to, be careful. And then also, hey, independents, third party, libertarians, Joe Jorgensen, we have a chance. We have a chance to win the presidency also through the Electoral College. So this is a teachable moment. Excuse me. So this is a teachable moment, America. Joe's got 306 right now projected. Don's got 232. It looks like Joe's beating the piss out of Don, right? Just like he said he was going to take him out back and beat the piss out of him. So 306, 232. Now, Joe doesn't just have to beat Don. That's the first, the one who gets the most. But then, that's how it wins with the Electoral College. People want to be like against the majority vote. The majority of the Electoral College is who gets to dictate who's the president. But it must be a majority. You can't get away with that plurality bullshit. That's how they deprived Andrew Jackson. He won, the plurality. He beat everybody. He got more votes, popular vote, more Electoral College votes, and yet he didn't get the majority. He didn't get 50%, greater than 50%, which, translates to 50% plus 1. And that's 270 Electoral College, vote threshold. So if 37, just do the math. All you got to do is subtract 37 from 306. And now Joe has 269. If he only has 269, that deprives him of the majority, and that triggers the House contingent election. That's all you got to do to trigger. You don't have to. Don doesn't have to beat Joe. All Don has to do, or The Rock, is deprive Joe of his 306, right? That's the projected, because we're assuming the state, all the electors are going to go for Joe, without any, bullshit shenanigans, without nothing, without, custom, right? It's tradition. It makes sense. The state voted for that person, so the electors should vote for the, same, person that their state voted for. So yeah, December 14th is when the real presidential election happens. That's the way, our founders found it, because, they were, I don't know, slave pieces, okay, so deprive Joe the presidency, 37 Electoral College deflectors appear. So somebody comes up, vote for Mickey Mouse, they don't vote for Joe, they abstain from voting, or they vote for Don. If they vote for Don, all you need to do, in fact, if you want to have just people, let's assume, what's possible, right? What's his path to victory? Well, if you could get 20 people to not vote for Joe who was going to vote for Joe to instead vote for Donald, so that's even less, right? 37, deflectors total, but if you can get 20 of the deflectors to not vote for Joe but instead vote for Don, that takes one away from Joe and that adds one on to Don, which is it's a difference of 2, right? So that means only 20 of those people. All you need is 20 of the Joe supporters to vote for Don in order to get this election to Don in the Electoral College. But ultimately, right, just depriving Joe of his majority. That's a good way for, the independents also. Faith Spotted Eagle, if we want to get Faith Spotted Eagle in there too. Or you, Sally Nobody. Sally Nobody American, you can be president. Just get one of the electors. Be third place. Be the third place victory in the Electoral College. If you can be the third place victor, then the House contingent election is going to be triggered. If you could get the third place victor, Joe Biden is deprived of his 270, that triggers a House contingent election. And this is exciting. Are you excited right now? I'm excited right now. This is a good civics lesson. This is good for the House. This is good for the Democrats. Democrats should go to the Electoral College every goddamn time. Why wait for CNN or Fox News? The media doesn't declare they declare it because, they're assholes and they think they could predict the future. But what if their numbers are wrong? Numbers have been wrong over and over again, and that's not how our system is set up. The system is your vote don't matter. Joe, Sally, Joe and Sally, nobody American, your votes don't matter when it comes to the presidential election. The only motherfucking people that matter are 538 of the College of Electors. You got, the College of Electors, there's 538 folks that's part of that college. And those College of Electors are the ones that actually vote for the president. So, Joe Biden's got 306 right now, so it looks very likely he's probably going to get all the, and there's very few, faithful. They don't always do this thing, but it's possible. In 1872, Horace Greeley, he died, but, so it's a little bit different, but there's 36 Electoral College voters who deflected. 36, and I'm just talking about 37. So just, of 538, right, of 538 people, 36 had deflected. All I'm talking about is 37, and maybe 20 if they all voted for Don, which is even, farther. But that takes Joe Biden's 306 Electoral College win down to a 269 Electoral College vote loss. So don't think that it can't happen because history says it already has. It already can. Has anybody ever been, person ever the presidency? Has the Electoral College ever stole the presidency from the person who actually won it ever in our history? I already talked about Andrew Jackson and Thomas Jefferson and John Adams. So they stole it from John Adams in 1800 and gave it to Thomas Jefferson. They stole it from Andrew Jackson in 1824 and gave it to John Quincy Adams. And I would say both of those are better decisions. Thomas Jefferson's better than John Adams, and John Quincy Adams is better than Andrew Jackson. So, I think that the Electoral College, the two times that it actually chose the presidency, chose who's going to be, the person who's going to be president, I think they did a good job. So, 1872, Horace Greeley died, 63 Electoral College voters deflected. So, can 37 Electoral College deflectors happen? There's 50 states. So, all you need is just one from each state. That's 50, right? I'm talking about 37 deflectors. So, I think it's a hard sell, but this shitstorm, this chaotic shitstorm that the donut chump and Boobiani, the chaotic shitstorm that, they're still carrying on, they could bring about Joe's loss by happenstance, right? It doesn't seem to be part of their Electoral College strategy of Rudy and Don's. It's kind of like a side strategy to do this, but it could happen by, happenstance. So I think, Democrats, every good person in the world should just take notice of this crybaby loser's threat. Serious. He lost and immediately wanted to nuke Iran. This motherfucker is dangerous and unhinged, and he's going to do anything and everything to keep on a hold of power. And that just shows you, what a fascist piece of crap he is. He ain't nobody, right? Barack Obama humbly just tipped his cap and said sayonara. George W. Bush, right, started the Iraq War, terrible, 1 million people dead. He, tipped his cap, walked the fucking way. Bill Clinton, Ronald Reagan, George Bush, Jimmy Carter, every fucking president has done this shit. You're going to try to keep a hold of the Oval Office when you haven't won. So December 14th is going to be, I think, the tell-all day. The media doesn't not to declare the president. They have, but it's a projection, and it's about numbers and shit. So, and it's a projection based upon, the straw poll, that November 3rd straw poll. So-called bullshit election that most of America participated in when it has, it's the influence, right? So, so my state voted that way. Okay, so that's, maybe I'll vote that way. Maybe I'll vote a different way. That's all that election was. So Electoral College strategy seems to be a part of their, tactics. Not the main part, but a part of it. Right now, you got the president who, he's going to be president for 2 more months. He could try to pass some legislation, right? He could try to get us some universal health care. He could, do another stimulus. He could actually do some, pull all the troops home. He could do, he's going to be pardoning, right? He's going to give out 1 million pardons. So expect that. So watch out for the 1 million pardons that come. He's going to pardon himself and all his, criminal crony friends. But that's a pardon, it's a get out of jail free card. So it'll be interesting to see who he, gives that cover towards. And so expect that. Expect all of that, right? But what they're doing right now, Rudy Giuliani and fucking Donald, their legal tactics is scorched earth. They're just attacking anybody and everything instead of using a cruise missile like what I'm saying. Just read the Constitution, assholes. Instead, Don's going down like a suicidal Hitler. Hitler wasn't brave. He was suicidal. He had Eva Braun kill, himself. So, fucking Hitler, who got other people to kill other people, couldn't even shoot himself and what the fuck? That's how he goes out. The Hitler Youth would have been, running toward, but he just in a bunker in a couch, and Eva Braun had it, and he also had, one testicle, right? So he's a coward to the max. But this is the person that 1930s Germany thought was going to pull them out of their Great Depression, a suicidal coward who only had one testicle. So that's what the GOP is doing. Part of their electoral college strategy is to get the Republican-controlled state legislatures in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona, and Georgia, all states whose popular vote in the nominal November 3rd election were won by JoJo Beans Biden. So they're going to try to overturn Michigan, Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Jordan in the electoral college, get the Republican-controlled state legislatures, because that's who picks the electors, the state legislatures, and then to replace the electors committed to him with a slate of their very own choosing that would vote for, Donald. Under federal law, each state is supposed to appoint its electors by election day. Any electors chosen afterwards would be disqualified. So therefore, Colorado has already chosen their 9 electors. I don't know who these people are. I've looked all over the place. Another federal statute says any change in the method of appointing electors must also occur before the election. That makes sense, right? There's shenanigans. It's bullshit. You're changing electors after the election day. So the law doesn't allow do-overs. So whoever Colorado has chosen to be their electors, it was done before Election Day, and they're already locked in. So we already got 9 electors. I don't know who they are. We should know this information, because if I could just change, one of their opinion, hey, just why not get Jimmy Dore, vote for Ro Khanna, AOC, Bernie Sanders. These are incredible. Don't vote for Joe or fucking goddamn Don. You want to vote for these assholes? Why would you do that? So there's only 15 of the 100 states that actually mandate the electors vote for the state's popular vote. So it's not 85 of the 100 states. They cannot force their electors to vote for whomever. They could fine them and maybe jail them, but it's not like outright, a ban. There's no ban. 85, 15, which is crazy, 15 of the American states has an outright ban on a constitutional. The Supreme Court ruled incorrectly earlier in 2020 about the Electoral College, saying that the state can force the electors to vote. The state has all the power, absolute power, so they can force their elector to vote for the president that they, that their state voted for, but that goes against the intent, that goes against the Constitution, it goes against, the national, the way that the founders had, wrote the damn Constitution. It goes against the damn Constitution. So 85 out of 100 states can't force electors to vote for whomever, but they could fine them, maybe jail them. But, after they do their constitutional duty, they can do whatever they want. They can vote freely for whomever they want. Their constitutional duty allows them to vote freely. That's the point of these electors. You're going to tell me their hands are tied walking into the voting booth? No, absolutely not. Alexander Hamilton would disagree. The Federalist Papers would disagree. So SCOTUS ruled incorrectly on the Electoral College. So perhaps we probably won't see any faithless electors. Joe will probably be the victor. He's being projected, but it's a projection. It's a guess. It's a good, educated guess. But a guess nonetheless. I think December 14th tells the whole story, tells the whole tale. None of this shit fucking matters except for December 14th. So he can win the presidency through Electoral College shenanigans. I don't know if he knows this. Don't misunderestimate him. Don't totally just count him out just yet. So, I actually haven't heard from anybody, pledged or not, yeah, we're going to vote for the person no, we're not supposed to. I think every American should check out their electors and make sure, they're doing what they're supposed to do. How come the media, they want to report this shit, but they're not actually reporting the truth? December 14th is the actual presidential election. When did you think it was? No, you're wrong. No, that's not the presidential. It's December 14th. It hasn't happened yet. The American presidential election, the imperial throne, we have not had the election for the imperial throne just yet. So the votes of the Electoral College for President and Vice President are scheduled to be formally cast by the presidential electors on December 14th, 2020, and then officially counted by Congress on January 6th, 2021. So those are the two most important dates for the presidential election for America, and therefore Americans, right? Who's going to be your leader, Americans? December 14th is when the presidential election happens, and then they count the votes January 6th, 2021. And so I think that, you'll see the Constitution. We got Amy Barrett in there now, so all God, this Supreme Court is terrible. The fact that I'm like, finally, we got Amy Barrett in there. The conservative, none of them, the text, what the text says is what the text says. How can you add shit on top of the text? That's where a conservative should be. I don't want a conservative any other place besides being an originalist, a textualist, a strict constructionalist. Maybe the Constitution is living and breathing, and maybe it's not, right? So deprive Joe of 270, then win the House contingent election. That's how Donald Trump can still win the presidency. That's his path to the presidency. It's his only path. It's a cruise missile shot. But it's, deprive Joe of 270, get the 37 people to deflect or the 20 people to vote for, Don instead of Joe. And then win the House contingent election, because it's going to go to the House. And that's AOC and Ro Khanna and, Scott Tipton, and actually it's the incoming, so to be Lauren Boebert, right? And it makes sense to do the incoming Congress to vote for the president, not the outgoing, because that's who America wanted, as a low-flying airplane. So they can win the same way. Independents, I'm not trying to get Don to win, okay, but the 435, can he win the House or Democrats? So this is why I think it's good for Democrats to always go to the Electoral College. Hell, even if you win, go to the Electoral College, because if it's, disputed, then the House, mostly Democrats are in the House. So you would assume that the House would probably vote for the Democrat unless you get a very dynamic, charismatic, and fantastic third-place finisher. And you know who we got in 2016? You know who won, the third-place spot in 2016? I'll get to you in a second, but that's how, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson can win. Deprive Joe of 270 votes, get at least third place in the total Electoral College votes, and then win the House contingent election. Get the 435, get Lauren Boebert, get AOC, get Ro Khanna, get all these, representatives, Deborah Haaland, Exo, Chile, Torres, Small, Benar, Lujan, all the New Mexican delegation, the New Yorkers, right, Lee Zeldin and Peter King and Thomas Suozzi, Kathleen Rice, and, get all the representatives of Congress, G.K. Butterfield, I don't know, all the incoming people, right? So they can win the same way. Donald can win, Joe can win, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson can win, everybody in America can win the presidential election right now. Just get that elector to vote for you. That's how the presidential election works in America. You want to say you love the goddamn Constitution, love it or leave it? You haven't even read the motherfucker. Love it or leave what? What are you talking about? What's the, the 7th Amendment? Yeah, go ahead. Tell me what's the 7th Amendment? I need a refresher. Oh, you don't know? Then how did you become a judge? How did you become a cop? You don't know the goddamn 7th Amendment? In 2016, one elector voted for Faith Spotted Eagle. But guess what? Faith Spotted Eagle did not become president. He wasn't the third-place finisher. You know who was the third-place finisher in 2016? Colin Powell. You know who tied with Colin Powell? Bernie motherfucking Sanders. That means if Bernie motherfucking Sanders or Colin Powell understood the Constitution and were campaigning and say, hey, let's take this to the contingent, he could have been president in 2016 if they would have deprived Donald of the majority. If Bernie understood the Constitution, he was in third place. So Bernie could have become president. if you knew the Constitution, if you understood the Electoral College. This is for everybody, frankly. This is the Constitution. This is for America. This is for independence. This is for, this is for Donald right now, right? So in some, crazy-ass circumstances, it can be for the Republican, if the Republican just, loses, but it was a close election. That's why The Rock has a chance. It was a close election. The House is going to say, oh, go Democrat, no, go Republican, go Democrat, and then, maybe enough deflect, and now you don't have a majority on either side, so they say, you know what, let's just have a good compromise candidate, and, it's The Rock or Ro Khanna or Jimmy Dore, Paul Rudd, what's that one fat fucker, Seth Rogen. Let's have a President Seth Rogen. That would be better than these two fucking pricks. And you know what? The older and older I get, why do we look up to any celebrities and actors? It's like, hey, that guy, did really good acting in that one movie. Now we should ask him about his political perspective on shit. He was good at pretending to be somebody else in that movie for entertainment purpose. Now we want to know why. That motherfucker didn't run for president. They allow these assholes. They get celebrities basically got all the attention that they need to win the presidency, but instead of, going and helping the people, they just say, nah, I'm just going to, take the popularity so I can take all my money. Right, Stephen Colbert? All right, I got to go answer this phone. Anyways, Bernie could have won the presidency,